Good morning, students. So, at last, we will discuss the last chapter of this class 12th, okay, the solid state, okay. First of all, we will discuss what is a solid. So, what is a solid? A substance is considered to be a solid if under atmospheric pressure its melting point is above the room temperature. Okay. Now, take the example of NaCl. We are having at our home, we are having salt, sugar, glucose, okay, glass, rubber, diamond, graphite, okay, sulfur, all are the solids. And these solids are characterized by certain special properties. If we compare with the other states of the matter like liquid or gas, solids are the substances having definite volume and definite shape. The intermolecular force of attraction between the molecules is very high. There is a strong force of attraction between the molecules. The internuclear distance between the molecules is very less. The molecules are close to each other. They are closely packed. The distance between the molecules is very less. Force of attraction is very high. Definite volume, definite shape, definite geometry. They are hard and rigid. Okay. They can be, they are incompressible, they cannot be diffused rapidly or even if slowly, they are not diffused at all. So, these are the special properties of a solid which characterize a solid. Okay. So, we can point out the characteristics like whatever. Incompressibility, rigidity, okay, mechanical strength, close packing, strong force of attraction, high density, okay, high melting point, so these are the some special properties of a solid. Solids are incompressible because in case of a solid the constituent particles are closely packed. Already they are having a very small distance between the particles, so they are already compressed. So we cannot again compress them. Okay, so these are what incompressible. Rigidity, the constituent particles are held in a definite position. The positions are fixed, so they are hard and rigid. Mechanical strength, already I have told you that these constituent particles in a solids the force of attraction between these particles is very high. Okay, so they are mechanically they are strong, they are hard, rigid, brittle. Okay. So due to close packing of the particles, they are what? Their mechanical strength is high, the toughness is high. Close packing. Okay. So already in case of solid, the constituent particles are very closely packed. The distance between the particles is very less. Strong force of attraction. Okay. So because the particles are very close to each other, so force of attraction among the particles is very high. That is the intermolecular force of attraction between the molecules is very high. High density. Okay. So because in case of solid, the particles are closely packed to each other, so the volume is very small. So because the volume is small and we know density equal mass by volume, so because of the low volume, the density is high. Okay. And high melting point. Okay. Due to close packing of the molecules, the solids are having a high melting point. Okay. So these are the special characteristics of solids. Okay. Now discuss what is different kind of solids. Now types of solids. Generally, these solids we can define as what? Crystalline solid and what? Amorphous solid. So crystalline solids are those where the solid is having a definite regular geometrical arrangement of the particles, and amorphous are those which are having no definite regular geometry. Okay. So there are so many points of difference are there, like what I can say definite, regular geometry. Okay. Geometry is not definite, okay. So here we have a sharp melting point, already we discussed, but here we have a range of melting temperature, here is anisotropic in nature, here isotropic in nature. Okay. Long range order, short range order, okay. Shows elements of symmetry, no symmetry, okay. So these are the points of difference between what crystalline solid and amorphous solids. Generally you take a solid, you rub it. If you are feeling rough surface, if you are feeling rough, it's crystalline. You are feeling soft, it is amorphous. Simply, we can take the example of NaCl. The eating salt having in our kitchen is a crystalline solid. The fresh powder which we are using, that's an amorphous solid. Okay, so the crystal cells are having definite regular geometry. That means the constituent particles are orderly arranged in a definite geometrical manner. It can be cubic, it can be hexagonal, it can be monoclinic, it can be triclinic, it can be rhombohedral. Okay. Amorphous solids are not having any definite regular geometry. Okay. So that means the constituent particles are not always arranged in a definite regular manner. Sharp melting point. Okay. So crystal cells are having sharp melting point because already we discussed that the constituent particles are orderly arranged. Hence, between the particles, strong force of attraction is there. So, if you to break the molecules, we need a high amount of energy. So, crystal cells and all the elements are breaking at a particular temperature. So, we can say that crystal cells are having a sharp melting point. Whereas the amorphous cells, because it is not having a definite regular geometrical arrangement of the constant particles, so the melting temperature is having a range. Suppose a particular crystalline solid, it may suppose the melting point is 150 degree centigrade, means at 150 that solid will melt. But amorphous, there may be 150 to 160. So there is a range of temperature. Now, anisotropic in nature. See, we have different properties of the solids like refractive index is there, electrical property there, magnetic property there. So, different properties if you measure the values of these properties in case of crystalline solids will different in different directions. We have x, y, z planes. Okay, so in different axes the values will be different. So, these are called what anisotropic in nature. But in case of amorphous solid, the properties are not differing from axis to axis of measurement. Okay, so these are called isotropic in nature. Okay, so crystallines are anisotropic, amorphous are isotropic in nature. Then long range order. So when you consider a crystalline solid, a definite regular arrangement of the particles repeats over and again to form the large particle. Okay, so a same type of geometrical arrangement repeats over a long range. Okay, so that's why they are having a sharp melting point. Okay, so these are having long range order. In case of amorphous solids, a particular arrangement may repeat but not for long range, for short time. So a particular arrangement is continuing for some time, then after another kind of arrangement and another kind of arrangement and so on. So a particular arrangement is continuing for a short range. Okay, so they are called for the short range order. Now the crystal cells are showing elements of symmetry. See, whenever we are having a definite regular arrangement of the particles, okay, and if we divide this shape, the geometry from a point, from any axis, okay, or from any plane, if that same geometry appears, that is called elements of symmetry. For example, you see, if I have a suppose we have a see this one. So this element, this is a point. If I rotate this from this point, I will get the same thing. Or if I suppose if divide from this axis, okay, so these two will be same. This is called what? Axis of symmetry. Suppose I have a what? I have a triangle here. If I divide from this place, okay, now this both are what? Same. This is called what? Symmetry. Okay, so because the crystal cells are having a definite regular geometry, so they are having axis of symmetry or plane of symmetry or point of symmetry. Okay, that means we can divide the geometrical steps into two similar parts. Okay, from the axis or from any point or from any plane. That is called elements of symmetry. Okay, and but in the case of amorphous cells, there is no such kind of symmetry. They are having short interval, and also there is no point of symmetry or axis of symmetry or point of symmetry. Okay, so this is about the crystal cells and your amorphous cells. Okay, now we can take the example of crystal cells like we can say copper, iron, diamond, graphite. Okay, are the crystalline solids. So sodium chloride NaCl. Okay, but in case of we can say PVC. Okay, glass, rubber, PVC, polythene. So these are the amorphous solids. Okay, okay. Now next we will the classification of solids. What are the classification of solids? Classification of solids. How the solids are classified into different categories. Okay. These solids can be classified into what? Four kinds. Ionic solid, your covalent solid, your molecular solid, metallic solid. So on the basis of interactive forces, the solids can be ionic, covalent, molecular and metallic. Okay. So there are many points of differences between these four kind of solids. Okay. First of all, we will discuss one by one. You see, if we consider about the constituent particles, here you see, in case of ionic solid, the constituent particles will be what? The ions, the positive or negative ions. Okay. In case of a covalent solid, the constituent particles will be the atoms. In case of molecular solid, the constituent particles will be the molecules. But in case of metallic solids, the constituent particles will be your positively charged kernel and the mobile electrons. Okay. Similarly, if you think about the force, in case of ionic solids, we have the strong electrostatic force of attraction because the ions are there. Okay. So here, in case of covalent solids, simply binding force is there. In case of molecular solids, we have the van der Waals force of attraction, very less force, and in case of metallic solids, quite high force of attraction, that the metallic binding is there. Okay. Now, similarly, if you think about your conductivity, ionic solids are bad conductor at the solid state. However, in the fused state or molten state, they can conduct electricity. Covalent solids generally poor in conduction of electricity. However, graphite is an exception. Graphite is a covalent solid but can conduct electricity. Similarly, molecular solids are now conduct electricity, but metallic solids are conducting electricity in the solid state as well as in the molten state. Okay. So, we can write the points here. like your constituent particles. Constituent particle in ionic solids we have what will be positive and negative ions. Your atoms, your molecules, your positively charged kernel and mobile electrons. Number 2, force of attraction. Electrostatic force, simply binding force, Van der Waals force, your metallic binding force, metallic force. Okay. Number 3, melting point, ionic, very high, covalent, high, low, quite high. State, hard and brittle, hard, soft, hard, malleable and ductile. Malleable and ductile. Conductivity, conducts in melting state, okay. Insulators, except graphite, okay. Insulators, okay. Now metallics, good conductor, okay. Example you can take iron, copper, silver, aluminum, gold, okay. Ionic solid, NaCl, BaCl2, etc. Covalent solid, graphite, diamond, okay. Molecular solid, solid carbon dioxide, ice, iodine, okay, etc. Okay, so the different kinds of what you know, solids, ionic, covalent, molecular and metallic solids. Okay, so next we will discuss your crystal lattice and unit cell. Okay, crystal lattice and unit cell. You know, solids are possessing a definite regular geometry, whether it is crystalline or amorphous. When we consider about the individual particle, when we consider about the individual atom or molecular ion, okay, then that individual molecules will have a definite regular geometrical arrangement. Okay, and any kind of a solid that must have to belong to a crystal system, and we have 7 crystal systems. Okay, so a solid belongs to any one of the 7 crystal system. These are what? Your cubic, trigonal, tetragonal, hexagonal, monoclinic, triclinic, orthorhombic. Okay, so we have cubic, trigonal, tetragonal, hexagonal, monoclinic, triclinic and orthorhombic. These are the 7 crystal systems to which the solid belongs. A particular solid may be a cubic, may be trigonal, may be tetragonal, hexagonal, monoclinic, triclinic or orthorhombic. For example, if I will show you this one. So this one is what? This one is a cubic. So this is a cubical geometry. Okay, right? Okay. Similarly, this I can show you hexagonal. Okay. This I can show you. This I can show you. I can show you this one. Triangular type shape. Okay, it's a triangular geometry. Okay, okay, look like this, triangular. Okay, this one. Okay, tetragonal. This already I have shown you. Hexagonal. Okay. So these are the different kind of geometrical arrangements. Okay, and this geometrical arrangement actually depends upon the arrangement of the atoms, molecules or ions that are the constituent particles in three-dimensional space. How the constituent particles that can be atom, can be molecule, can be ion are arranged in three-dimensional space, accordingly a definite geometry will be given, and that geometry can be one among these. Okay, so what is a crystal lattice then? What is a crystal lattice? A crystal lattice is an area of points, which represents a definite regular geometrical arrangement of the solid. Here you see, if I take for example okay, see this is a point here, I will take this point will represent an atom or molecule or ion. This one is a point, I will show you. This is a point, this is a point. So here these 4 points are there. These 4 points represent the 4 constituent particles. Another is there here, another is there here, another is there here, and another one here. Okay. Okay. Now this point and this point, this and this, this and this, this and this. So you see, this is a regular arrangement. This is a regular arrangement. Okay. Now this regular arrangement again you can extend. Okay, this one, so we'll get another one. Okay, this again I can extend. So here you see a particular arrangement is repeating 1, 2, 3 and so on this side. This can be this side also. This side also you can extend. Okay. So this one, again this one, So same structure will repeat again here, again here, again here, again here. So we will get what a large arrangement of large number of particles. Okay, and this is called what to the crystal lattice. And this whole crystal lattice is obtained first from this one. So this is the first structure, and this structure when repeats over and again, we are getting this one. So this is the crystal lattice, and the smallest repeating unit which repeats over and again to give the crystal lattice is called what? Unit cell. This is called what? Unit cell. Okay. So unit cell is the smallest repeating unit which repeats over and again to form the crystal lattice. Okay. So simple example I can say, you see this one, you see. All of you see this one. So here you see we have this green color, green, red, white. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a small unit. This is a small unit. And this small unit, you see, these small units, when a number of this kind of small units are arranged together, we are getting this one. So this geometrical arrangement and this one both are same, but this large arrangement is obtained when this small arrangement is repeating over and again. So this is called what? This is called what? The crystal lattice. Called what? Crystal lattice. This is called what? The unit cell. Called what? The unit cell. Okay. So this smallest unit repeating over and again to give what? This one. So this is the crystal lattice. This is the unit cell. Right. Similarly, also I can show you. See, this one is what? This one is single species. Okay. So this is a unit cell. This is a unit cell. Now we have again another type of another unit cell. Right. Okay, now unit cell and unit cell. Okay. So this becomes what? This becomes a crystal lattice. This becomes a crystal lattice, and this one is repeating. This is called what? The unit cell. Okay. So we have see, this is a unit cell. This is one unit cell. This is unit cell. This is unit cell. Now when this unit cells of similar kind are what? Repeating over and again. Okay. We are getting what? We are getting what? The crystal lattice. Okay. Right. This is the crystal lattice, and this one is the unit cell. Right. So the crystal lattice is a large arrangement of large number of particles, atoms, molecules, or ions, and this is forming when a small unit is repeating, and that small unit is called what? The unit cell. Okay. And we have different kind of crystal lattice for the different kind of crystal system, and this one is the cubic crystal system. This is the cubic lattice, cubic unit cell, right? Similarly, for trigonal we will have some different type of geometry element. For tetragonal we will have different type of geometrical element, and so also hexagonal, monoculic, and so on. I have shown you this one the hexagonal element. Okay, this one the hexagonal element, right? And this is the this is the cubical element. Okay, so different crystal systems will have different kind of crystal lattice, and accordingly different kind of the unit cell. And we will have two kind of unit cell. we'll have a geometrical arrangement of different unit cell. That is, I will show you. Okay. Now, unit cell. These unit cells are of two types. One is primitive unit cell, other non-primitive unit cell. Okay.